For sure, yeah.
Um, in the first one here, Horizon Zero Dawn Forbidden West. Did you play the first one?
Yes, I did play the first one.
How do you
At
rank that?
launch, I played it. I thought it was very, very good, but it to me, there are certain games that don't get a second playthrough out of me, and that
Uh-huh.
might fall somewhere in that category where it was like a really good experience, but I have not ever gone back to play it. When we get closer to Forbidden West, which is getting kind of close, I think, right? It was February, I think it's coming out.
Yeah.
I'll probably go back and play it because it's been a long time since I played the first one. But yeah, I thought it was great. Yeah.
Yeah, the final like encounter I think was like the biggest letdown for me. Like that just wasn't as fulfilling as like the rest of the game. And it was
Right.
definitely like a good one playthrough. I started in a new game plus, but it's okay. But I mean I really love the game though. And I think where I ended on this game was wanting the next one. Because to me
Right.
it's all about the story. The story just was just so intriguing and I love the
Yeah.
story so much. So yeah, you're right. It was less of a like I want to play that again versus I rather just play the same save I have and just go fight things
Right.
in the world if that's what I want to do. I 100%ed it and I still found myself just like going back to areas and fighting the giant like Tyrannosaurus Rex one or
Right.
trying to master the like burrowing ones because there's
Yeah.
things like that.
Yeah. So yeah, I played it, and I can't remember what year it came out, but it was before I became like a nut about 100%ing every game that I
Yeah.
play. So it was like before that time. So I probably didn't even get close to 100%ing it. But it's not to say that it wasn't a good game. I thought it was a great game. Did you play the DLC Frozen Wilds or whatever?
Yeah, I almost 100%ed that. I think I'm just like missing a few things. The cool thing about Frozen Wilds was they made it so you just had to get past like kind of like gear wise like entry level of the game. Story wise, the way they do the dialogue, it inserts itself anywhere in the other storyline you are. So
Oh yeah.
yeah, the way they did it, because they just reference things that are going on back there. And she's like, "Oh yeah, my home's like trashed," kind of thing. So I was happy they did that, even though I played it obviously after everything came out.
Right.
Um,
Yeah, I was kind of because after I had told you to wait on the Iki DLC, I was kind of wondering if it does the same thing because I watched a couple of reviews and there were certain parts that they were getting that I wasn't getting because I didn't finish the game. Or at least that's what I assumed because I haven't beat the final mission in the save that I'm in. So that's cool that it does that. I never played Frozen Wilds, but I heard it was like relatively short, right? It was like a couple hours long.
yeah, it was super short, but the biggest takeaway from there was it was the first step into exploring how much that game is capable of, like its potential down the road. And
Yeah.
that's the reason why when I finished it, I was like, all right, I want the second game because I know they can go to like the next level with what they're doing here.
Right.
They made a really polished, brand new game for this, but it was still, it was a little restrained
Right.
and simple because I think they wanted to get it right instead of doing too much. But I just, it left me wanting that next level of what this game is capable of, and it looks like this Forbidden West it's gonna take it there.
Yeah. I think I had said like Insomniac and Sucker Punch, who does Tsushima, they found their game for their series. I think Gorilla is finding their game. You know what
Yeah.
I mean? They had
Oh yeah.
Killzone before that, and Killzone. Listen, PlayStation desperately wanted Killzone to be a thing. They wanted it to pick up like Halo or something like that of that magnitude, and they're good games. They're really. I love the Killzone games, but they're not. I can see why Gorilla left them behind, and now they found Horizon, and I think that is like diamond in the rough as far as what they were doing before
Yeah.
Horizon. So yeah, I think we're gonna get probably 3-4 games out of this series if I had to bet my money on it.
I sure hope so.
Yeah.
But speaking of which, let's watch the trailer.
Let's do it.
Let's see what this is about. I don't even think I've watched this yet.
I might not have either.
Plus, the graphics are going to be insane.
Oh, for sure.
The old ones perished 1,000 years ago. Their great cities turned to graves. In their place came new life. And new dangers.
She's got your ear pod.
Yeah, she does, doesn't she?
No way to stop it. Or it will get worse and worse.
I love that.
Until it destroys us all. There's nothing I wouldn't do to save this world. No depth I won't explore. No secret I won't unlock. No barrier I won't cross. This mission is mine alone. If I falter, if I fail, there won't be anyone left to stop what's coming.
That's mostly what it looks like, too.
Yeah, definitely.
But whatever comes,
Lord of the Rings.
Yeah, right.
I will be ready.
So, where did the first game take place at? I can't remember.
Colorado, because was it the Frozen West or what? Frozen Wilds? I don't know. Like Yellowstone National Park's in there.
Oh, okay.
And it's generally kind of in that region, up in the mountains there.
Yeah, this one looks. It's a nice change of pace as far as the environments go, at least from what I remember from the first game. Like this looks like that was maybe the Golden Gate Bridge there. I assume?
I this is very much like the West Coast,
right?
Down out of the mountains. So I imagine she's gonna, the storyline. She's traveling west for some reason, and that's the coolest thing I liked about this game was I was generally so intrigued in learning about this past that she's uncovering along the way.
Yeah. It has such a big setup to it, or like such an intrigue to it that you want to go and find out what happened and everything.
Yeah, and it just leans so much into the whole, humanity went so far like it always does.
Right.
But like it was, these tech giants and these companies, and they just kind of like screwed everything over.
Right. Yeah.
But there's like these key players, right? Being like her mom, and then kind of like the owner and all that kind of stuff.
It's okay. You're safe now. Right here.
Have you seen the memes where they put her face up against her old face? How much fatter it looks.
Oh no, I haven't.
I'll try and send you some, but they're pretty funny.
Yeah, I haven't seen like any of this. But yeah, I mean, even like, because obviously they took like a very straightforward approach with the first one of like just sticking
Right.
with like kind of core dinosaur types and like prehistoric animals. This one, I really hope they really kind of open the floodgates.
Well, it looks like even in that first trailer, it looks like they are, especially the like giant turtle thing that's got like stuff growing on him. Like that's so cool.
Yeah, and the world's just to be like a little like she obviously like she can swim now and
Right,
go
yeah.
underwater kind of stuff, and I think just making the world more penetrable, if that makes
Yeah,
sense. And I
yeah.
think that's kind of the direction they're going with it. Because obviously, like that's the thing with like Tsushima is it's not a penetrable world. It's very just
Right.
kind of surface level here, here, and here.
Right.
Whereas like this, they're definitely moving in that. It's almost, like kind of looks like Uncharted right now.
Yeah.
But just that more dynamic world, I think people are always kind of looking for. And that's really my hope in like these sequels, just like with Ghosts and then this,
Yeah.
they just kind of take it to the whole new level.
Yeah, that's my hope for Spider-Man also. And I think that's the natural progression for these sequels. Any sequel, you get the base game down, right?
Yeah.
And the ones that we're talking about, they nailed the base game. There's no denying it. So building on top of that base game is where most sequels go. So I'd be shocked,
Raptors.
I don't remember Raptors being in the first game, but it's been a very long time since
There were like Raptor. They weren't as raptory like this. These are straight up Velociraptors. In the first game, they were more so just basic bipedal fast.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, and they just had the one eye for the head.
Oh yeah.
And you shot the eye.
Right.
These ones are like, and they were like very basic machines, whereas these are like much more advanced.
Right.
And that's the cool thing too about this game is like all the dinosaurs like had a purpose.
Yeah.
Why they were created.
Yeah, right. And it's funny because the whole tech giant thing, she's going to like the tech area of right,
Yeah,
like San Francisco, California. That's like, so I would imagine we're gonna get a lot of really cool new enemy types,
and they have to explore every possibility with the controller on the PlayStation 5 now.
I'm sure they're going to. Yeah,
obviously she shoots a bow. They can do everything with that controller,
right?
With the bow. But yeah,
always appreciate a game that has that pulse thing there that you can send out.
Yeah,
especially if it's like a futuristic game or I just like having that pulse so you can see where the enemies are. And it always feels so weird coming off of a game that has it to one that doesn't.
Yeah, just the level of fluidity
right
they're showing here is just, I appreciate that a lot because the first game still had its rigidness to it.
Right, true.
And I think at some point in this, I don't know if we'll watch the whole thing, but she's like Spider-Man ziplining, like
oh really?
They're shooting, and then
cool. Because the first game had those like cables that you could tie the things down with, right? You like shot the enemy and then the ground, and it would like tie it down.
Yeah, well, I think that you could do that on most enemies. Yeah, that was basically a bow type, and you would tie them down, and that's like the main way you took down the really big ones.
The big ones,
to restrict their movement.
Yeah.
I cannot remember like the non-dinosaur combat. Like she's fighting enemies here, and obviously you had to fight people. I just don't remember it.
I don't remember it per se either, but I do know that it was in the game. But I think it probably took such a backseat to fighting the big monsters that.
Well, it looks like they've moved a lot of the mechanics about fighting monsters onto the other humans because you saw like the armor glow
Right. Oh yeah.
where
Yeah.
like his breakable components and stuff.
Right.
So it sounds like they're they're going to focus a little bit more on like the people combat, which will be nice.
Yeah.
The lighting's just so good.
Yeah, I was gonna say, dude, watching this through a stream on a YouTube video, it's still beautiful. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it's like
still
the
stunning looking,
atmospheric.
Right.
It's the atmosphere that it's kind of like creating.
and it's got like that film quality to it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Where it's like, I don't want to say it's
There, yeah. Whatever
grainy, but
she's able to jump and like
shoot that thing across.
shoot something and
yeah.
like zip line to
Yeah,
it.
that's cool.
Yeah, that's the Golden Gate Bridge.
Yeah, for sure. Oh
There's-
yes.
There's that.
Yeah, I mean, I think there are certain games where that's not in there, and this might have been one of the ones where it's like I could really use a paraglider right now.
Right. Well, we're getting that in this and Battlefield.
Right, yeah.
These Raptors are cool looking. That's all there is to it.
Yeah, for sure. But like after Breath of the Wild, like exploration in other games feels so difficult if there's not a paraglider to
Oh,
explore
true.
with.
Yeah, because I think that's just a natural progression of open world games because the environments are getting so huge, and it's not
Right.
just about pathing and walking places.
Yeah.
It's we can jump, we can fly, we can zip line, climb. It came natural to do something like that in Spider-Man because it's
Right,
that's just how he
right.
moves. But
Exactly.
Breath of the Wild and these just like enormous games, they just need more of that movement, and like
For
that's why they did it in Battlefield too, because
Those
so
maps
much-
are mapped, right.
so much combat's going on in the sky at high elevations, and you can't take the stairs down.
Right.
I love the Oliphant here. That thing's gonna be, yeah, that's straight from Lord of the Rings. Good for them.
For sure.
It's got the guns on the side. That's way more in depth too.
Yeah.
Unless I forget how many things you get, but it definitely gonna have way more crap in this game. The pulses on the ground, that purple stuff.
Yeah. I always really love games with a nice dodge roll, and the first Horizon had such a cool feeling dodge
Yes.
roll to it. You know what I mean?
Yeah. This one also had decent, not a lot, but it had pretty good cosmetic like adjustments with the
Yeah.
armor and gear and stuff. They'll probably like double down on that. But yeah, that is what I really liked about this game is the fact that it was weighted in itself. Like
Right.
it was not glitchy and buggy for how complicated, for the most part, the environments that you were in.
Right. Yeah, that's the one thing that Sony first party studios just seem to absolutely nail. And their games are never very buggy when they come out, if at all, really.
Right. Yeah, she has some sort. There it is. Here it is.
Oh yeah.
Look at that.
Yeah, that's cool for sure.
Then glide.
And the glide, yeah.
And that's just needed in fighting these ginormous things because you can't, like, that was the weird thing about fighting those like T-Rexes is you had to sprint around
Right.
them
Right,
at times, and
they're
that was,
huge, yeah.
and that's exhausting and kind of messes with the flow of the fight. So yeah, they're definitely giving you more tools in this game to really engage with these ridiculously sized enemies,
Yeah.
and more about helping this guy. And just to me, this game just has a great blend of technology, but
Technology,
not
but-
technology.
Right.
Like
they're back to the Stone Age, but they still have certain tech advancements. It's really, there's always, you can always typically pick out the inspiration for games when they come out. Like, okay, Uncharted, yeah, that's Indiana Jones, obviously.
Yeah.
Ghost of Tsushima, it's samurai movies. where on earth did they come up with this idea? Because this is such a brilliant idea, and it's literally fresh. I've never seen anything like it before.
Yeah, and that's one of my favorite things about it. And when I was playing the game, I was just like, geez Louise, like I guess they wanted to make it had to have been like a draw to do like, you know, a Monster Hunter wasn't out yet, but
Right.
You know, like an Evolve, fighting big things, but focus on a bow without it being Crisis. And I guess this is where they land. But the fact that they came up with the storyline and the like history on all this, like that to me just like really takes it there.
Right. And it definitely for a studio that did like 5 or 6 Killzone games that were all like, meh, they're good.
Right.
You know, they're very baseline good. And then they come out, the first Horizon Zero Dawn was like spectacular. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Compared to everything that they were doing beforehand. So I always like seeing studios abandon things that aren't working and moving on to you know, something different, and then finding their feet in the next game. And I think they nailed, you know, I think this is going to be their game for a while.
Yeah. And yeah, at least 3 of them. I mean, I can't imagine any less than that.
Right.
And that's the thing, like they even mastered the UI, because like you have that super complicated like pick wheel, but you so fluidly could switch between all the different weapons. Like you move through all your bow types for like mid battle. It just was well done.
Yeah. And then I really liked all the upgrades in it, because there were like just some cool ones where I think one of them was you could slide across the ground and then slow mo your bow and shoot while you're sliding.
Yeah.
And that just always felt so cool to pull off, sliding under something and hitting the armor underneath. So yeah.
The slide, the midair. I think there was a midair slowdown one.
Right. Yeah. I'm definitely excited to see where they're going to take it. I think it looks beautiful. I think the world is already stunning on a YouTube video. So I can't imagine that it's going to be, you know, what it's going to be on a 4K TV on a PS5, you know.
All this stuff. Yeah, like that, none of that was coming through. We're just getting the like general atmosphere being very, very well done, as we can expect. But yeah.
Hey, thanks for watching this clip of the Showboys podcast. If you like what you heard, please go check out the full episode on our YouTube channel or anywhere you find your podcast content. Please remember to hit that subscribe button, join the Showboys Discord, and if you want to support the podcast and what we do, sign up to become a patron today at patreon.com/showboyspodcast.